creating a persona can be challenging for any brand, but for a brand as big as Boots, where the customer profile is as diverse as a whole nation, it is more than just a challenge. Boots Chief Marketing Officer Peter Markey says customers of all types look to pharmacy and health brands for honesty and integrity, especially in pandemic and post-pandemic times. So how is it done? How does Boots unify its brand purpose with wider issues in society to consistently remain a brand that people can trust? Well, let's find out. Please welcome Peter Markey.
Great to be here.
Good morning, Peter. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Really looking forward to this. It feels like these big, relevant kind of topics for right now, the whole authenticity and consistency of brand messaging. So I'm going to get out of the way and let you get on with it, because I know you've got some slides and videos and etc. to help you tell your story. So if we can bring those up now.
Fantastic, thank you.
No worries whatsoever. I will be back to put any questions you might have to Peter, so please do, thinking caps on, raise your virtual hands. Our producers are watching, we'll queue you up and get you ready. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, Peter Markey.
Brilliant, thank you. And morning, everyone. Greetings from Nottingham, the home of Boots. I'm going to talk today about how we put the customer and mass personalization right at the heart of everything we do to drive a deeper connection and a deeper relationship with customers, which I think is more important than ever, particularly as we emerge from lockdown and we want to start to feel good about life and about re-engaging with people again. Having a brand that can support you on that journey and knows and understands what you need and is relevant today, I think is increasingly important. And I'm going to talk a bit around that and also talk a little bit around what we've done through lockdown, what we did through the initial period when COVID first emerged, and what we did as a brand. So I'm going to use the wonderful clicker. Fantastic. Okay, so first of all, we all know it's been a really challenging 18 months right around the world. Boots, because we were an essential service, we were open throughout the pandemic as a frontline service. And I think we've learned a lot around how to engage and how to connect with customers in a timely and a relevant way. And that leads me to mass personalization. So I've dreamed of doing this sort of thing ever since I first got into marketing 20 plus years ago, of being able to connect with people individually, a message and offer a piece of communication that's timely and relevant at exactly the right moment. And that's the journey we're on in Boots, a journey towards really connecting with people. We have a massively important role as a retailer to play in people's lives. We're many things, and I'm 9 months into the business. We have an optician's business, we have a hearing care business, we have a pharmacy business, we're involved with health, wellness, beauty. We have a phenomenal societal purpose in terms of what we do to support Macmillan and the Hygiene Bank, the Prince's Trust and more. Boots is there for everyone in every way. So our role is to better understand people's lives and better understand how we show up and how we can support them in their lives. So using our data, using our connection with customers is really important, because we need to show that we really understand our customers' lives, particularly when it comes to the overall piece around well-being. And our view is that well-being is an increasingly important concept as we emerge from lockdown and want to rediscover your life all over again. So we've been doing this with a shameless plug with WPP. We have a separate part of WPP called The Farm, which is spelled PHARM, which is a dedicated team that works on our behalf, has helped us on the journey towards mass personalization. That involves greater use of our own data. We have 15 million active Advantage card holders in the UK. The program's 24 years old, 25 years old next year, so big birthday for that. And we fuse that with smart use of technology, including the Adobe Marketing Cloud, to help us on this journey, connecting our first-party data in a more relevant way with audiences in a fresh and exciting way, bringing the right offer, the right message to them at the right time. And the journey we've been on together with the team at WPP is around what we're calling a human-centered approach to winning customers back. Particularly as we've emerged from the last lockdown, people's shopping habits have changed. We've seen digital grow massively, up plus 100% year on year. Our .com business continues to be strong. We've seen huge growth in that. And we've seen really strong performance of stores, particularly since we came out of the most recent lockdown of non-essential retail. But there are still customers we want to either re-engage with, or customers who've not considered Boots that we need to get back in. And also we want to engage with people in a way where they may not have felt safe shopping previously, but we want to encourage them to come back and engage with our beauty advisors and pharmacists and wellbeing consultants in store. And that also includes things like the flu vaccinations and the COVID booster program we've got running at the moment. So this human-centered approach is very much how we design everything from the big above the line campaigns right the way through to targeted activity. It's all about using the data we have, particularly through the Advantage card, to better understand people's lives, to better know how we can connect with them, and to better appreciate how we can then re-engage and get them back in our stores, and also back and continuing to work with us online as well. So when we came into the first period of lockdown, but this predates me. I'm 9 months in. This is beyond the point I came in. I was working for a bank at the time, TSB, and so I went through the other side of this, thinking, well, what do we do in terms of engaging with customers, showing that we're there to help them, we're there to support them, and the marketplace, it got quite crowded with different forms of communication. So we really had to quickly, as Boots, go, how do we show up in a really thoughtful, sensitive way that shows people the role we play and what we're there to do, particularly as we were open and had essential services like our pharmacy open at a point where, as a nation, we had so much uncertainty around the pandemic and what we should and shouldn't do, and guidance around how we should go about living our lives at that stage. So we developed this hashtag called Prescribed Kindness that worked right the way through everything we did as a brand. So Prescribed Kindness was a demonstration of everything Boots did. So that included the work we did on COVID testing, extended to when we got involved with vaccinations, was there right throughout in terms of showing our local community pharmacists the role they were playing and what they were doing, and also extended to the advice we gave, our chief pharmacist and others in the business, creating video assets and forms of communication to just guide and help people through a very challenging and difficult period with advice, in my view, probably second only to the very strong guidance coming from the NHS. So Boots seemed to be there, providing help, support, and very much showing kindness and support both to everybody in the UK, but also to the NHS and the vital work that they were doing as well. It was also rallying call within the entire business around how we supported each other, from colleagues working on the front line in stores still, and the level of protection we were able to give them, but also to colleagues who were working from home, as many of us were, and many continue to do so, which was a new and different experience as we got used to working in different ways and juggling the different aspects of our lives, from childcare to parents to other responsibilities in a different way, which presented a number of challenges that came with that as well. So Prescribed Kindness became very much a running call within the entire business. And so within the context of mass personalization, we developed Prescribed Kindness, but then we had to get that out there to people. And so we started off with strategic intent. This was all about, right, so Boots is there for the nation. We can help through our pharmacy services. We can help with our .com business. We can help with advice in a really difficult and uncertain time. How do we get it out there? So we looked very heavily into social listening and social intent data. What were people looking for? What were they worried about? What did they need help on? And we had a regular drumbeat of research with Kantar, YouGov, Statista, really looking at the mood of the nation and what people were feeling and what they were worried about. And then use that to create a content plan. So if people are worried about this, they've got questions on this, Boots has an authentic, relevant message. We would then create assets around that and get that out in a really timely fashion. So it was very quick, fast turnaround. We have an internal content studio as well as the work with WPP. So we're able to send assets around really quickly, get that out there both organically and to put spend behind it, and developed around personas. So what not just what were people generally looking for, but what types of customer, what types of audiences, what were they looking for, and what did they need? And it became really important to get that, then target it and get it out in a really relevant way. So Prescribed Kindness worked really well. So we got these assets out. You can see some examples here. So we had data which was developed around questions of the day. You can see some of the figures there with the view-through rates, some incredible figures in terms of how that engaged. And I think particularly one of the words I talk a lot about at Boots is relevant. When we show up in a really relevant, timely way, the engagement we get is hugely important. Boots is one of those business with huge nostalgia of how people love the brand and love the business, but it's so important that we show the relevance of what we're doing today, and we certainly did that through this campaign. For some of the more vulnerable groups, we had one-to-ones, so we were able to segment audiences and go, how do we develop something for specific groups that is timely and relevant and really important that they can use that information, and it's important in their lives today. And the mindset, I'll come and talk about Love Island shortly, but we developed this stage of content publishing mindset. So right throughout this is thinking about a publisher, right? So we like magazine, like editorial, right? We had a whole team working round the clock to develop assets that were, again, timely, relevant, and so almost demanded your attention because they were so important at a moment of national uncertainty. And so all of that has really helped supercharge our brand, given it a fantastic platform with more to do as we've come into this year we're in now. So uh, brand index highest since 2012, phenomenal. Net promoter score also high, affinity up, dynamism, value, and new all freshen up as well. I'm going to actually come and talk about some work we did after that since I've come in, where these scores have further improved. So not only did we create a strong platform through COVID, we've actually built on that with how we've taken the brand forwards from this point onwards with more to come. So what have we done from this point onwards? So we've learned a lot from what we did through Prescribed Kindness. So we've accelerated how we've used first-party data. Um, we're collecting more, we're using more, we're building and strengthening our Advantage card, and we've got big plans for that through next year for the 25th birthday. We've worked well with tech partners, so we work with LiveRamp and InfoSum. That's allowed us to connect with audiences through Facebook, through Google, and through InfoSum, through global, through digital radio, through programmatic radio, through ITV, Channel 4's demand platform, and most recently with Reach through the Mirror and the Express. So a great way to apply and use our first-party data and apply real-time triggers across that data as well. We have new ways of working. We've organized around an agile squad model, so we're able to do stuff really quickly in a really fast way around audiences and personas. And we do have this mindset of always on, a rhythm, a trading, ongoing rhythm within the business, and test and learn as well. You know, not everything's going to work. So how do we learn fast and turn things around if things are or aren't working? That's particularly important as we use our first-party data. And we can now do things at scale, you know, particularly as we've got data capability, we've got creative capability, we can do stuff really quickly and in a dynamic way. And importantly, that's all underpinned by really strong KPIs and metrics. So we can deliver activity, but we also learn fast, and we can turn stuff around and change stuff really quickly if it is or isn't working. That extends right through to our use of first-party data in, as I say, in some of the what you might call traditional broadcast channels. We've got a really good read on performance and what we do that's helping us drive the business forwards. So what are we seeing in terms of results? So I'm currently knee deep in this Christmas. So I nostalgically look back to last Christmas, and we saw incredible results with how we targeted our activity in our gift range last Christmas. And that's flowed right the way through into this Christmas in terms of unique ads. I mean, you look at the number of unique ads delivered, phenomenal, 24,000. So we've got so many versions of creative now we can get out in a more targeted way. We've then taken the learnings into other parts of the business, so local pharmacy, so we can directly target customers based on where the local pharmacy is. We can mention the pharmacy, we can mention the pharmacist in that store, and that's given us great engagement, driven real footfall into stores around, again, timely and relevant around local communities and what we do. And we've been able to look at how we further use programmatic media to get people in store at relevant moments, which particularly has been important at Christmas, but to bring real agility towards when we want people in store around specific offers and promotions. The footfall trackers and some of the other stuff we've done has really helped us with that overall drive in at a relevant moment. So hopefully you get a sense data drives every bit of our business. So I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to skip on quickly through the other bits. So this summer, we built on all of this, so that's helped us go even further in terms of a new campaign we launched. And so we came up with a campaign, biggest campaign we've ever done in the summer, around Feel Good is New, coming out of lockdown, wanting to emerge again, to feel more positive about life as we were able to get out, reconnect with loved ones, go to pubs, go to restaurants, go to the cinema, go to the theatre, go to barbecues. We wanted to tap into that by sharing all of the new stuff we've done at Boots in a timely and relevant way. And so this is the campaign we launched. So we wanted to tap into this fear of missing out, that people had missed out on a load of stuff. They're now at a fear of meeting up. And we had a load of stuff we've done. So we wanted to give unmissable national coverage to promote the great things we've done. We want to be part of the biggest cultural talking point this summer, which was Love Island as the feel-good partner, again, in a timely, relevant way, showing up with our products and services and being there in the moments that matter. So connecting and, again, social listening, knowing what people were talking about, what mattered in people's lives, and showing up with products and services, whether it's beauty or wellness, all around themes that were highly relevant, highly targeted in people's lives at that moment. I think the next slide might be playing the ad that we launched with. If it isn't, it's the one after. So here we go. Great.
Today could be a good day for a little reinvention. To switch the same old for bright and bold. Embrace your grey, or even your pink. To go from dog walk to catwalk, or fragile to agile. From 2 to 3, or 3 to 4, or even 4 to 5. And we'll be here every step, salsa, and shimmy of the way as we've done some reinventing ourselves with thousands of new products and services. Boots feel good as new.
Excellent, thank you. So that was the launch ad that ran through the summer. That ad has been really successful for us. The whole campaign has, in terms of Boots being back on people's radar as fresh and relevant, a brand with a lot of buzz, a lot going on. And it's a great way to reintroduce Boots as a brand that has solutions for your life as you come out of lockdown, as you want to feel good about life and connect with people again. That leads me to Love Island. So we weren't the main sponsor of Love Island, we were the feel-good partner. But Love Island was a great way. I've done lots of sponsorships in my career, but sponsorship where your products can feature in the show and are used by contestants in the show is amazing. And so we were able to put Boots' own brand products and supplier exclusive brand products in the show, in the villa, and they were used, and people could shop the show as they were watching it. And again, a part of this whole campaign of Feel Good as New, Love Island helped introduce us to a slightly younger audience, but in a timely and a relevant way through a show that everyone was talking about through the summer, and a great partnership with ITV. So how do we activate that? Again, with data at its core. We used PR and influencers. We worked directly with Laura Whitmore. Our social activity, again, used that tapping into social listening that we'd learned right the way through the pandemic, right the way through Christmas. We had an operation running almost 24/7, producing content, getting it out there, optimizing it, directly linked to the content of the show. We flowed that through into in-store, and we also developed a specific Love Island package. So not only did we have our products in the show, we had an overall package that the contestants actually had a reveal and opened up the package in the show as well. The results from this have been phenomenal. Great relationship with ITV. We got great coverage. We had the #1 share of voice of any sponsor on the show. And it really helped us engage and reawaken an audience in a fresh and new way through working with the show and working with ITV. So we were delighted by the performance of this. And again, data at its heart, performance at its heart, test and learn as we go through everything that we do. And then this is an example of the overall Feel Good as New campaign. Again, you can see the bright vibrancy of this campaign. Again, the Boots logo front and center, but all of this was around bringing together this mindset of we want to feel good as new again, but also Boots has changed a lot through the pandemic. We've got a much stronger offering right the way through from our bigger, we added 50+ new beauty brands. We've had a big play on value. You can see that with the £2 and under. Dog walk to catwalk, just emphasizing again the strength of brands we've got. Help ease the aches and ouches. We have a fantastic health hub we've launched as well, again with the acne mention as well. So health solutions for you as well. So as you come out of and emerge again, as we all have from lockdown, the chance to feel beautiful and amazing again with 50+ new brands. And healthcare has been essential to what we do, but again with data at its absolute core. And that is just the start. So as I say, Christmas is next. Can't wait to share that with you. It's coming very, very soon, and with more to come. Matt and data front and center in everything we're doing. So thank you. And thanks again for the invite. It's a real privilege to be here sharing about Boots.
Thank you very much indeed, Peter. Much appreciated. I do have loads of questions, but producer Emma is in my ear saying it's not about you, which is fair enough. So I think we have some questions from our audience. And up first, we have Barbara at Coty, I believe. Good morning, Barbara. How are you? And what's your question for Peter?
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'd be curious to understand, as you developed this content plan and then reiterated through it, what were the things that you had to fix, the things that you learned in terms of planning content for these specific occasions?
Brilliant. So, Barbara, great question, and thank you. And great to have you. Obviously, we work with Coty, so it's brilliant to connect with you on this call. It's honest, the big learning is about pace and changing your processes, so empowering people to be able to sign things off really quickly within the right set parameters. So it's almost what I call like freedom within a framework. So, what I didn't want to do, Love Island being a great example, is if the team had to wait for me every night to be sat there signing stuff off, it would just grind to a halt. So we empowered the team to go, right, you're able to create content and get it live within a certain framework of things to do, but it's down to you guys to do that. You don't need to escalate that up for further sign-off. So it's about that speed of delivery. We also made sure that we brought creatives closer. So we had the creative team sat with marketers, so we could get assets. Literally, you could sit next to someone producing an asset and get it live. It wasn't right, I'm going to write this really detailed formal brief and hand it over, and you'll give me some concepts and come back in 2 weeks. So it was like a production line, but a really empowered production line that we tried to make as slick as possible, and also made it a lot of fun. So the teams working on Love Island, it was on a shift pattern. They'd get pizzas in, they'd be able to just make it really fun. You work in the show, it's really fun, it's really engaging, and it was it worked really well for everyone involved.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Super insights. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Much appreciated. Have a great rest of the day. Up next, I think we have Philippe from Michelin. Hey, Philippe, how are you? And good morning. And what's your question for Peter?
Yes, hello. Thank you very much. Thanks, Peter, for taking us through this, and congrats on the good results. My question is on content production. You mentioned WPP on one side, you mentioned internal studios on the other. Did you find the magic recipe, or a good recipe for you at least, on who works on what, when, based on what criteria? How do you balance this, and how do you get the most of the two?
Brilliant, Philippe. That's a great question. The honest answer is I think we're still finding our way a little bit. In the broadest terms, WPP are amazing to work with. They've been brilliant at landing what I call the big concept ideas. So if you look at the ad I played earlier on of Feel Good as New, that whole platform was developed brilliantly by WPP. We were then able to take that further through our internal studio that we call Beehive, that was able to articulate that. And then the Find the Ones or Find the One concept for Love Island that we developed was again with WPP, but delivered through our internal studio Beehive. So in its simplest form, for me, the internal studio is brilliant at bringing to life the articulation of a bigger idea that's been developed by WPP. But importantly, you need the WPP framework to begin with. So get your agency to land the big idea, and use your internal studio to activate that in a way with multiple versions that a big agency would never want to get involved with, but an internal studio can do brilliantly.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Philippe, producer Emma tells me you have multiple questions. Did you have another question that you wanted to put to Peter?
No.
No? All good. Philippe, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
Take care. Thank you. Peter, there's one thing I wanted to ask you, if I may, which is sort of maybe looking at a slightly different angle than the creative angle. So all this sort of data and everything, have there been learnings about where that data needs to come from internally across Boots? Because if we just look at the news at the moment, everybody's being affected, supply chain problems. So you may have created a marketing campaign for something that unfortunately you now haven't got enough of. There needs to be flexibility in there. Is your data coming from your supply chain, et cetera, et cetera? So what does that pool look like, and what have the learnings been like internally?
Yes, the data is so important within a business like ours, particularly as we enter this period on Christmas. So as well as all the data we have on our customers, which is really important and powers our marketing, we have regular ongoing conversations, particularly we would do this anyway in the run up to Christmas around everything connected with the stores, capacity, availability of products. It's a constant conversation. And so I think the best way to answer your question is say, look, there's a drumbeat of meetings where the right data is on the table to help us have the right conversations and the right decisions. And that, as you indicate, is this year more important than ever, given the very dynamic environment we're working in. So, it matters, I think, whenever you approach these big trading seasons, whether it's summer or Christmas or other points where you just get the right people together to have the right conversations at the right moment. I know that sounds incredibly obvious, but it really matters. And we do have really close relationships with our suppliers. So I think, again, building on those through those key periods is also really important. We recently launched our own internal media agency, the Boots Media Group, where we provide now enhanced services to all of our suppliers, whether that's in-store or online. And so again, data is really important to that, understanding our suppliers' plans, what their big product launches are, the big moments for them, how we can best make those show up online in store, how we can use data, and how together we can work in partnership to make those launches and moments absolutely amazing. So data, relationship, partnership, the right structures and rhythm are essential to how we work in Boots.
And also, perhaps you talk to us a little bit about, if you don't mind, about during the COVID thing, you had the voice of the pharmacist, which amazing thing, and what a brilliant resource to be able to call on these sort of incredibly, trusted people during that time. But I'm wondering, is that something you think, actually, we really like that? Now, it's probably harder to do over Christmas and all these sorts of things, but we're going to bring it back. It's going to form different parts. What were the learnings from that? What does the feedback look like there?
Yeah, so we as you saw in the presentation, I mean, we saw great results from that. But there are moments when I think it's great to have the voice of the pharmacist a bit further. So, example would be flu vaccination. So, now would be a really good moment to have, given that flu may be more prevalent this year, having a flu vaccination is a really smart thing to do. So actually having the voice of pharmacists explaining why it's important, the difference it would make, I think really helps as well. We've also recently done a video actually around returning to work, returning to the office, how to boost your immunity, how to take care of yourself and your health if you're heading back to an office environment. And that's, I think, shortly due to go out. It may even be this week. So there are moments when I think a pharmacist's advice can extend both to, I guess, the more medicinal side, but also the overall well-being and care side of the business too, given that, as you said, the voice of authority they've got and the level of care that they bring in terms of their day-to-day role.
And one of the things I think we're going to sort of progress to talk about across this summit is the blending, it is maybe the wrong word, but of the blurring, certainly, of the lines between experience and marketing. And so that's why I'm curious about the pharmacist, just to use this example, because clearly that's a brand experience, and it's a high touch, very high quality brand experience. Where do you see marketing playing in the future? Do you see this sort of blurring going on?
Yeah, I think it's a really good reflection, actually. For me, the brand is the customer experience. So, the job I do is not about creating on its own great communications, because if you don't have the experience there, you create what I call a brand gap. And so the experience has to back up what you're saying and what you're doing. So a lot of my time and energy now is spent working through aspects of the customer experience, whether that's in store or whether that's online, to make sure that whenever we're talking about something or talking something up, that what we're delivering in store matches that as well. And that extends into Christmas and the bags of joy activity we've just put in stores in the last week. So no, I think it is increasingly important, and it's got to be, because retail is very competitive, isn't it? And I think if you look at just the frustration we sometimes feel if you're on a website that's too slow or you can't get something to work, you get frustrated with that brand. So that ease, that frictionless content experience is really important in online. And I think in store it's about ease and frictionless again. But it's also layered with, in our in-store environment, you've got pharmacists, you've got beauty advisors, you've got even people that are trained to advise people going through difficult situations with cancer. We've got people trained to do that and trained to help. So all of those are moments of truth, I think, for the brand, where Boots can show up in that really authentic way. So yeah, I think for a CMO, you've got to be heavily invested in the customer experience, not just communications now.
Fantastic. Peter, thank you very much indeed, sir. Have a great rest of the day, great rest of the summit. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Peter. Take care.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Best of luck with Christmas. Well, look, fantastic stuff from Peter Markey, and thank you for all your questions.